Welcome to another episode of Voices of Iwa. My name is Iya Omisegun. And if this is your first time tuning in, Voices of Iwa is it's the communication vehicle of Iwa Lifestyle, which is a lifestyle brand that is committed to celebrating and amplifying the voices of women all across the diaspora, especially those of us that are committed to our African traditions and celebrating our African traditions. So today I have three special guests that are here. They are actually very, very dear to my heart. These are women that I personally work with within our practice. We have a strong sisterhood together. But, today's topic, we're going to be really looking at the journey, right? The journey from being a devotee of the Orisha to making the decision to become a priest or a priestess. And so we're going to start this episode off like we do all of our episodes. We want to kind of hear your story of how you came. How did you come to the traditions? Like, what is that story for you in terms of deciding, like, this is real for me. This makes sense for me. I'm going to commit my life to an African tradition. So be sure to, introduce yourself, who you are, and then give us a little bit about your narrative. I will start with you.
Okay.
Glad
to be here. So my newest name
there
is
you
Ifadero, which translates to Ifa brings ease. Ifa has brought me ease, which is really meaningful for me in my quest and my journey. Growing up, my mother was a mumble. So I grew up in the Haitian Vodou tradition. So from as long as I can remember, there was always the drums. There was always ritual. Growing up in New York, we went to a Catholic church. I went to a Catholic school. So, typically it was usually kind of hidden under, but at home we had shrines, and I was responsible for placing the water and replacing food and making offerings. So I've always been around it. I've always been sensitive to spirit, to energy. So growing up, that was all I knew. That in Catholicism. But it was never really emphasized. I never really had to put emphasis on the Catholic Church. It was just a thing that we did. You know what I mean? So I know my foundation came from my mother. We used to go to Haiti annually for rituals until I was about maybe 10 or so. So ironically, she converted into Christianity. She became an apostolic, Pentecostal.
Wow.
Which is crazy. But even in the church, I still felt, I've always been prayerful. I've always felt the energy. So in the church, I was involved. Right. I was involved. Then as I kind of grew into my teens, I felt a need to reconnect with Africa and African culture, the whole self-determination thing. So I started navigating that space through Lukumi in Miami, and then made my way eventually to Isheshe. So for me, it's always been my foundation. It's always been where I felt most at home. The Christian aspect felt like something was missing, and then there's just the whole identity thing, the whole identity thing. So for me, it just was a full circle moment. I've always practiced an African traditional religion, if you really look at it. But I found my way to Isheshe and to Ifa, and it's a good resting space for me. I still feel, though, that I may, in honor of my mother, go back and get those shrines as well. Yeah. Because I know all of it. I have tattoos in honor of my mother. She was initiated to Dambala and Ogufeai. So I know that is my foundation for everything. And I know as a Haitian woman that there's power in that as well. So just tying the bow on my identity as an African woman and a spiritual African woman, I find that those two things have been powerful for me. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Aworonke, what about you?
Well, growing up, it was more like a comedic if you will, Egyptian Kemetic background. So it was similar. It was spiritual as well. Growing up, I visited church and mosque and things of that sort to kind of get like a well-rounded understanding of different religious and spirituality and things of that sort. But what always resonated with me was African spirituality. That was the foundation. And then from there, I wanted to take it a step further and create a ancestor altar, if you will, thanks to my aunt, who pretty much wrote this book of all of my ancestors. It's pretty much got information as far back as you can possibly go. And I utilized what my mother has taught me, with my aunt, what she had laid out for me, and I utilized that, and I just went with what I thought was best. And so I started there. And then from there, I was in a relationship. The gentleman had introduced me to Ifa, and then from there, it made sense based off what my aunt had found, based off conversations that my mother had shown me, and just my own understanding. It was my personal decision to continue to pursue Isheshe, traditional Ifa, and it's been home for me ever since, and I'm proud.
Olumide?
My family didn't necessarily have a specific foundation in a religion. I do remember growing up, just my grandmother was one of those church ladies with the big hats. So we would go, and she wanted me to be in choir. I was like, okay, we'll do choir. Then we did dance. I was like, okay. Then we moved from California, moved to Georgia. That's when like church kind of went away for a while. And again, there was like a lot of things going on with me that I didn't have answers for. I would see and talk to spirits, and my family would be like, stop doing that. Like, stop doing that. I'm like, I can't help it. I'm not choosing to do this. You don't see that person right there? And I was kind of on this search since I was young. I remember in 7th grade, my father took me to this huge church, and it was really just supposed to be, we're just here to appease you because you've been asking us to take you to church.
Yeah.
And they asked for people to come down to the altar, and I was just crying, walked down there and was praying. And they were like, okay, this is something that not normal 7th graders do. It's fine. We'll keep it going.
Right.
And then I got older. A lot of stuff just was not explained properly to me within Christianity. It just couldn't really fit for who I was and the things that I was dealing with. So got a little older, went to Spelman, and Dr. Omishade Richardson was my teacher, and connected with her really well. Started to eavesdrop on some of her conversations, just to be honest. I was like, she knows some things. She sent me like an inch of information, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. And I went to some classes. After the classes, I was like, oh, this explains a lot of the stuff, and it makes sense to me. This feels good. And I'll spare the story of how I won't say
that
my
narrative is trash. Go ahead, you done brought it up now. Go ahead and tell the people what you think.
Two things can be true.
Two things can be true.
Long story short, there was a community Ori feeding, and I was like, I'm gonna get my Ori fed. And at first I was like, I don't know this lady. I do not want to go to her. Let me let somebody get in front of me. I let 2 people get in front of me. It did not matter. And I sat down, and Iya was like, she literally touched my head and then sat back and said, baby, what's wrong? And tears and I don't cry in public. Tears just going down my face. And then, won't say you hazed me.
This is where her narrative goes to the basura.
I'll just say, she said, find out, get my name and my number from someone. And then she just disappeared. And I was like, okay.
Do the work.
Who is this? Who's
I was really in a rush that day.
It's okay. Because I did the work. I did the work, and I'm glad that I did the work, because this has been home since.
You know, I'm always so intrigued about how people, like the paths that people take, right? The various paths that people take. Like you saying that your mom was into Haitian voodoo, your mom, you know, your parents were into, you know, Egyptian, you know, spirituality. You know, you were like, we were going to church. You know, Catholicism was all I knew, you know, growing up. And I believe that some way, somehow, for those of us that are destined to follow this path, it finds us, right? And then when it finds us, it kind of like takes us and be like, and we're just like you said, this is home. Like things are starting to make sense to me. Stuff is starting to
resonate.
Right, it's resonating, right? Like I'm seeing the difference in my life, and I want to learn more. I want to go deeper. So let's talk a little bit about how learning in the traditions and learning in these environments has shaped your life and kind of changed the outlook of who you are now. And in no order. Anybody can just jump right in.
I don't mind starting.
Yeah, go.
The lady that you see on camera is not who I was years ago. I was very into my masculine energy, just very masculine. And with being around the tradition and understanding and being around this amazing group of women, I was like, okay, I can step into my feminine energy and still be safe. I can step into my feminine energy and not have to feel like, oh no, someone's looking at me, let me hide or let me act tough. I'm okay, I'm protected, things are good. And with that, a lot of walls kind of came down as far as things like, I don't want people to look at me, I don't want to be seen. However, in this tradition, it's like everybody has a part and everybody's part is important. So you need to be seen. You need to be able to accept the energy that is coming from within you. And again, that's just, it's changed me tremendously. I'm very much more docile, very demure. And I'm grateful. The energy that I walk with is very much more calm than what it used to be. I used to just be ready for any fight, fight. And now I'm like, I don't have to fight because Ifa does my battles for me. And I am protected.
That's, you know, I remember the first time, it might have been, so this is our third Egungun festival. It was the first Egungun festival that we had. And I think that was like the first time that I had seen Olumide completely like dress up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like she had on heels and, you know, she had on the fabric. And I was just like, oh my God. Like my little sister is beautiful, you know? And I've always wondered, like, you know, and we know each other's stories. But, you know, the courage that it took for you to step outside of that mask, you know, and make a decision to be like, you know, I'm here, you know, and you've been showing up like I'm here, you know, ever since. And I think that that's really dope.
Thank you.
What about y'all's life?
So I think for me, I want to say initially coming into the tradition, like there's different routes. Some people want information and they're like, give me more, like, give me that, give me this, give me. And then there's some people who are just really powerful because they tap into the tools. And I had to navigate through that space. So I have been exposed to like a lot of information. Feel like previously, so the last 3 years is when I really want to say I took my destiny by the reins. And by doing that, I mean holding Ifa with 2 hands and using the tools. So before, whereas I wanted to, not even that I personally wanted to know, I want to say that in the tradition in the beginning, I took a position of being like an assistant and given a role, whereas I knew I was powerful, but I was powerless. You know what I mean? And when I made a decision.
Tell me what that we can't glaze over.
Yeah, that was
Tell me
bar.
what. Yeah, that
Right.
was bars. Right.
So in my previous IFA worldview, right, I was an accessory, I think. You know what I mean? So like, and I don't want to get into like the misconceptions about Epwete B and whatnot, but I feel like my role.
We're gonna get into those things eventually
will,
on this
but
podcast.
We will.
Maybe not
However,
today.
And I don't want to make like an all-encompassing statement, but for me, what was true for me in the tradition in the very beginning, I was more so serving a role as a helpmate. I was more so seeing how IFA can be helpful to other people. So I've always been a community activist. I've always wanted to make a change, and I saw the role that I was given, it was to help. It wasn't as personal, if I can say that. And in the last 3 years, I say it, IFA saved my life. I literally was able to use the tools and my dedication to IFA to completely transform my life. So whereas I might have been just a observing participant, when I realized knowing a lot of stuff versus being able to change and move things, there's a difference.
Yeah.
I can say the best compliment that I received recently from one of my guides was that I earned my initiation. Some people purchase initiation and some people earn it. So when I decided in the last 3 years to really like stick to ritual, to go to IFA for divination, to really use the tools in all aspects of my life, then I understood it and I was able to use my power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know some people will see IFA or divination as like a crystal ball effect. Like, I just want to know. I just want to know and not do the work. I just want to know, will my blessings come? Will this thing work? Whereas they only go to the oracle or to IFA. They only go when they are in need of something. I switched gears. Yeah. I switched gears to literally be like, all right, what do I do? How do I do this? You know, when it comes to the schools that my children attend, when it comes to the trials and tribulations that I have as a mother, when it comes to the challenges, I literally started using the tools every day of my life, every month, you know, and I was able to literally transform my life. So I feel like I took a more active, like I took main character. I became the main character of my own destiny. You know what I mean? I literally became the main character of my own destiny as opposed to like being a supporting cast member.
In a supporting role.
Yeah, in a supporting role, if that makes sense.
It makes complete and total sense. You know, I think this is the point of these types of conversations, because even as you said it, like, you know, I knew I was powerful. I can't even remember the actual
powerful, but powerless.
Yeah, powerful, but powerless. You know, like that may be how many women feel, right? In not having those mirrors around you, right? That remind you consistently of your power, right? And of who are also walking in their power, right? So your power doesn't scare me, right? Your power doesn't make me uneasy, right? Your power doesn't make me less confident in any kind of way, because I'm walking in my power too, right? So all day long we could just ping pong this off of each other, right? And it helps to undergird you, because then there's those times where, you know, where literally maybe something did happen and I don't feel so powerful, right? But then your sister is there, right? The women around you are there, the people around you are there to remind you, right? Like this was today, this was this hour, right? I like the fact too that you kept talking about tools, because I think sometimes that we think that those things are outside of ourselves, right? And you talked about the work, right? Like the work that we have to do. Like in this tradition, it's spiritual work. You know, like we're constantly doing the spiritual work, and all of that, like the Eba, can. And I just want to say this: we did not plan to wear these shirts all at the same day
at all.
It just happened to be that we.
I was like,
these are the shirts. I do want to say this. You might be listening to this, but three of us have on the same shirt.
It's not planned
and a different color on.
Right, with different colors. And so if you were watching if you watched the pilot, then these are the shirts that you received, and they went out right there. I bagged them yesterday and distributed some of them yesterday for people that gave feedback to the pilot episode, and we all just decided today that we were gonna,
I just didn't wear my shirt.
Right. So Olumide doesn't have on hers, but the rest of us do. So I just want to say that if you're watching on YouTube, that was not planned.
But this episode is sponsored by.
It absolutely is. But yeah, those tools, right? That we have, that work that we have to do, that's consistent within ourselves. Like that's the work. That's the work that we're here to do so that we can get to that next place. So Aworonke, did you want to, share?
Yeah. For me, it was a lot of things that I was holding on to and didn't realize I was holding on to. I was just operating and going day-to-day life, like high functioning, and not realizing life was just spiraling out of control. And it wasn't until I got serious, some fire got lit, in my behind, if you will, and I had to really create a personal, it had to be me and Spirit, me and Ifa, myself and my Egbe. We had to really lock in and create that personal relationship, because if I didn't create that for myself, it was just going to be me just doing it just because I was told to do it. It wasn't just
and there may be a lot of people like that.
Yeah, I think dreams and things that would happen in real life in real time that would just give me this aha moment, wow, this really works. And it's once you really dedicate yourself and you really discipline and stay consistent and give thanks too, not just, when you're, like you was mentioning earlier, when you're in need of something, also give thanks too. It really works. It really works. It really does. And that it just gave me every bit of motivation to continue to just do my work, my personal work, and, get me right. And just continue to be patient and to let things unfold to the surprises that are coming and the blessings that are coming. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. So, speaking of excitement, right? Ifadero, you just got back from Oshogbo. Olumide and Aworonke are on their way to Oshogbo next week. Which I can't say enough what a blessing it is for us to be able to return to, to be able to go to the continent,
right?
Any amount of times, right? Whether it's once or 15 times, whatever. Like that being accessible to us is such a gift. So I guess kind of want to hear from you all on your preparation. I'm curious as to what was the nail in the coffin that made you feel okay, it is time for me to get initiated. Because I'm sure because I'm not telling y'all's business, but I'm kind of in on y'all's divinations.
Got hot. Is it hot?
Gotta readjust. What made you go it's now?
Ooh, okay. Well, I'll go first.
Okay.
So it was dreams. It was dreams, and also in my waking life where I would see Spirit in my dreams. I even had a recent one not long ago where I was in my house and I was coming down the hallway and I saw my Egbe coming down the hall, and I hear footsteps boom, 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 just loud footsteps, and I'm coming around the corner to meet at the intersection of the hallway, and she came, grabbed me by the shoulders, and she shook me and pinned me down on the couch. It was and her eyes were just big and,
get it together.
Yeah, she wasn't she was talking with her eyes, and her mouth was just closed, so that was a wake up call, and of course several other dreams, but for that one, it was just my wake up call to like, all right, let's go get initiated. Let's go. And the nail in the coffin for me was when I had a dream of my ancestors. The ones I know by name and face, they were proud. It was like smiles. They were proud of me. They were on the airplane with me, and you all were there too. And they was on the airplane with me, just giving me hugs, just warm hugs, just congratulating me. Like, finally, you, like, again, shout out to my aunt. She really started the journey, and that dream was confirmation to the book that she created of our family, that I am continue on the legacy that had took a temporary pause. And now I am blessed to be able to continue that legacy and continue that heritage that was built. And I'm going to continue to build and make it stronger. So shout out to my ancestors. Shout out to Egungun. Love y'all.
You know what's twirling in my mind right now is how excited I am about having a platform where someone can say, I had a dream that led me somewhere, and nobody goes like, what kind of crazy shit is that? You know, like, because this is like, for those of us that walk with Egbe, for those of us that walk with Orisha, you know, like, our dreams can be very vivid, right? Like, I remember dreams prior to getting initiated to Egbe, and those, you know, even after, where I did have a similar dream, right? Where I mean, I won't tell the whole dream, but I mean, where there was a woman that came to me and was like, what are you waiting for?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I was just like, who are you? And you're a little scary. And where am I? You know what I mean? Like, having a lot of thoughts, and really not having the full, well, I won't say I didn't have the full support, but I didn't always feel comfortable, right?
Yeah.
You know, we talk all day, all the time about, I had this dream, help me figure it out, you know?
Yes, please.
You know, but yeah, I think that's so powerful to be able to have the end to your own spirit, and to be able to listen to that, and you know that, okay, these dreams are leading me to something, and I need to pay attention to them.
Exactly.
That's dope.
For me, I felt it was really important to align with the lineage. Really important to align with the lineage. And as I said, like, the last 3 years have been pivotal in my life. And it was really just a return to myself, a return to my destiny. And to be able to have someone on a mat in Oshogbo literally speak to your life when they're not, you're just not your own girl, you know what I'm saying?
They don't even know you.
Give confirmation to things like that every time. It's mind-blowing to be able to know that, you know, through WhatsApp or Skype, you know what I'm saying? So it's just solidified for me. And in addition, like, Ifa just was like, listen, what's up? Like, it's time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, it was really important to go to Africa, to go to Nigeria, to Oshogbo specifically, because I wanted to, legacy and family has always been important for me. And I just wanted to make a really clear distinction that the community that had been helping me, the community that had helped guide me, that I would, you know, link in and be able to make it kind of like a pilgrimage. You know what I mean? You know, I think it's really important to go, and I think it's important to go back. Like, and now I've got it in my mind that every, you know, September, like, this is the journey home. So for me, I just want to make sure I'm on the right side of all my attempts to connect. And I want to connect as close to the root as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Honestly, I tend to be hard-headed. I know you guys know me.
What?
So.
You? Nah.
So being hard-headed, was fully in the tradition, having a great time, loving it. Dreams were dreaming. And I was like, I'm going to move away.
You want to tell this story?
She's like,
that was after a very strong mounting.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna move. I'm gonna leave. As you see me, I am here. Back with my original Hazer. I moved and I thought that things would fix, like, okay, I have the tools, I have my issue, I have my ifapa, I know how to pray, let's do this.
Yeah.
And literally every message on the mat, Iwa, Iwa, Iwa. And I'm like, I did not cuss this person out. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. And I was talking to you one day, Aworonke, and it was, you were telling me how someone told you a story, I think it was Baba Kolade, about how Iwa is not only how you treat others, but how you treat yourself.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, I got up and moved myself away from community.
Isolation.
I completely isolated myself. And the dreams didn't stop. And I remember the night before, like, I ordered boxes off of UPS. They sell you United States Postal Service.
We're not giving any plugs.
Okay. free boxes.
Editing that out. If you'd like to sponsor.
Right. But I ordered my boxes and then I went to sleep. And that night you came to me in a dream. And I was like, am I asleep or is this like, did I move already? And you were literally the first outfit that when I came back and I saw you, you were in that outfit. And it was all white. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is home. This is home.
Benny.
And because I was supposed to go, I wouldn't say supposed to go, but I had it in my mind. I was like, I'm going to go get initiated. And I allowed fear to control me and I ran. And it led me back to square one. Like, what are you running from? Yourself? Because you take yourself everywhere you go.
Man. Everywhere you go, there you are.
There you are. There is your egg bay. There's your egg gungun. Hi, you thought we could leave? We're still here.
Mirror.
And after just feeling like, let me just listen.
Yeah.
Let me just listen to myself, listen to these dreams, because to literally come back and see you in that exact outfit, I was like, okay, got it. I hear you. I'm listening. And the closer that we get to going, my dreams are like, it's going to be like this. And then the bathroom is going to look like this. And I'm like, okay, all right. And it also kind of helps me remove fear. Like, excuse my language, but fuck fear. I just move and trust and know that things are going to be great because I've seen the work work.
The work works.
I've seen the elbow work.
Man, I think we've talked about this. I could reiterate it. That was really hard. I remember when you were like, I'm moving. And I'm like, to where?
Right.
And you were like, I'm going to Florida. And I'm like, for why? Right. Like, why? Why are you going to Florida? And, and Kalada and I talked about it. And I was like, well, let's do a divination, and you were like, I'm clear, and that's the kind of like the thing that I believe in, that when people are clear about what they need to do, let's be clear, right? Yeah. And that was hard to be like, okay, who am I, right? To tell somebody that they're not clear about what they need to do for their destiny. And I got questions and I got fears, but but this is your destiny and I want to be supportive to your destiny. And so the Olumide is going to Florida, and then when things weren't okay, to not be that big sister that was like, I told you so,
still clear,
right?
Clear was a bad choice now.
and just being like, I'll come get you today if you want me to drive down there. Like, right. What do you need? And I was so happy when you came back. So happy when you came back because I felt like I think we all felt like something was missing, like that, someone's not here that should be here. And at the same time needing to like, I have to love you like this, right? This is not, our job when we care about each other and love each other is not to hold on to each other for dear life, right? It is to allow people to do what is in their spirits to do. And I believe that you got something out of that experience for you.
I did.
Yeah.
that you needed for you.
Yeah.
And then when you came back, you were like, I'm ready to get initiated. I'm like, bet. Let's
Run it.
Let's go. Which is exciting. Do y'all have any fears about like anything that's like concerning for you?
I'm toot all aboard. I am I'm excited. I'm open. I'm ready. I'm so ready. And I'm very grateful.
Your mom. So just yesterday, shout out to Mama Wendy.
Hi, Mom.
This is the first time I've for a few years now I've been able to take, a few people. I won't say I've taken a lot of people over to Oshogbo, but taken a few people over, and this is the first time that someone's mom has traveled to be like, I don't know you. Lady, I don't know you. You seem real nice. You real pretty. And I don't know you. And you're talking about taking my child halfway across the world. And we sat there and talked yesterday. And I just thought about how much,
They talked. I was silent.
how much love that really is. You know what I mean? And how... For some of us, our parents, the people around us may not understand anything that we're doing, right? I remember my father telling me, literally, he was like, there's phases to my journey, right? When I decided to get initiated, and I was like, I'm going back and forth, and this was such a big part of my life. My parents would come, and it was like, so we're Catholic, we don't know what you're into,
Right.
but my father said, but I see how this is improving you. They would call it the village. Like you go into the village people, you out there with the African village people, right? And it was like, I am out here with the African village people. But my dad was like, I don't really understand any of it, but I see that it's making you a better person, right? When I decided to be with Kolade and he's polygynous, and I was like, I'm going to be in a polygynous relationship. And my dad was like, I ain't with that shit. And you've taken such you've become so serious about this tradition.
Yes.
I'm not surprised that you're open to it. Yeah. And I don't give a shit as long as he treats you right. Like that was his, like, like the fact that I can have those real conversations with my dad. Like that's what I was thinking about with your mom. I was just like, she just wants to know that her baby is okay.
Yeah.
And she was willing to, she drove. She was like, well, I can go back to Florida now.
Yep.
She's like, I'm going to get back on the road. And I was like, well, now it's kind of late. She's like, well, yeah, I can go back to Florida now. She was like, and I don't know that I'm going to be fully okay until you return her to me. So that's you got one job, lady. Yeah. You got one job. Your one job is to return my child to me. And I was like, I'm coming back. She coming back with me. Right. So we coming back, right. But yeah, that was, it's so, this journey, while it's very personal for us, it impacts all of our families, Absolutely. Man. We're healing things for our ancestors and our ancestors' ancestors. You know what I mean? Like, and moments like that help me remember that. Like, this is not, yes, it's about you, but it's just not about.
It's never just about you, but it is.
Yeah.
But it's not.
So is there anything that you all are hoping to gain? What is your hope in gaining from this experience? Or, you just went, so like, what are some of the things that you gained? She was like, would you like my list?
Exactly.
Like, this fall.
I mean, initiation is life-changing, but initiation is life-changing. And oftentimes we go, you go curious. You go not knowing what you're going with, we're consumed with like, what are my taboos going to be? What am I this, am I that? But for me, I was able to really see, not just going forward, because it's not like from this initiation point, from here on out, this is what your life is going to be. I was able to look back and be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So for me, it is amazing. It's heavy. I'm still kind of settling and acclimating. And I have so much clarity in the life experiences I've had and the life experiences, how like the cheat code, you know what I mean, to move forward. So for me, you know, I had a really good friend I talked to when I came back, and I was like, okay, I got it. And I'm supposed to do this, and I'm supposed to do that, and I'm supposed to, and it's like this checklist of things of like, how do I, you know, align with my destiny? And it's really just a lifelong journey, you know what I mean? Yeah. It really is. There's not like a time frame or time. And yes, there's certain tweaks that I've made and I've seen change. I have certain things that I'm still like, I don't really understand how I'm supposed to do this, or, oh, I can understand, oh, in this situation, this was this way because, you know? Because oftentimes I think we want to like dash away our past. We want to dash away, whether it's from, you know, embarrassment of it or fear or whatever it is, and just have this whole newness. And I was able to really kind of like take all the pieces of me and push them together and understand and like ride my dragon now. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful for the experience. I'm grateful for the time. And I've been able to literally like pull all my blessings to me. Like my life is better. My relationships are better. My finances are better. So it's just, it's such an empowering. So now I'm powerful. You know what I mean? And I know how to use my power. And the thing is, knowing how powerful you are, character for me is really important. And that has always been the thing. Even before going and getting Ifadero as a name, I had, for my in-between, I had chosen Iwalewa because I've always understood that character is beauty. You know, no matter how beautiful you are, if you're nasty, you know what I'm saying? It can overshadow everything else. So that was kind of my thing as I was continuing to like put all the pieces of myself together and change my life. My constant reminder was that my character would be important. And then to go for initiation, for that to be the one thing that was like the key to all of my blessings is to mind my character. It's so empowering to know that you know, and to also get the missing puzzle pieces. So
it's something, and I want people to take this away from this episode in particular, because you know the root initiation, right? The root word. Y'all know I'm into words and you know, initial, like first, right? You know, I think I've noticed that for some people, they're like, you know, I've gotten initiated and now I have arrived.
I've arrived.
Like, what a crock of shit. Because it is just the beginning, dear.
Absolutely.
It is just the beginning, right? You like it is just the beginning. You know, like you're even getting the information. I remember things that were told to me in my initiation, right? And hold
that.
Right. And not even knowing, like, what are you talking about, Ifa? What are you talking about, Oshun? Where is this coming from, Egbe? Sounds nice.
And it's cute.
Right, but I'm not so sure like what you're talking about right now.
Right.
And then, like you said, being like, oh, like in moments being like, this is what you were talking about. Oh, this is what this was for. Oh, this is why I need this particular Orisha. You know what I mean? This is how, you know, like this is how. So even when you kept talking about tools, like the tools in your toolbox, you know, like knowing and understanding that all of these entities, I recently had an experience where I really felt one with the universe. Like I was just like, oh wait, I'm here today, right? And having this experience and really understanding, like, you know, like all of this is just one. It's one. We like to separate it because it's easy to separate it, but it's really just one. And in this oneness, right, we are in a space and place to understand more on like a bigger level, like who we are in it all. And so like that, and this is, you know, like I can say, oh yes, I've been initiated for 13 years, but that's also a drop in the bucket, right? Of even getting to know yourself better.
Yeah.
Like who are you?
Yeah.
And why have you come?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like that gets peeled back as we do our work.
Absolutely.
Because if all that information, if you got it all today, you wouldn't know
You
what to do
wouldn't know what
with
to
it.
do with it.
You'd pass out. You know what I mean?
Heavy
And you probably
spark
would run.
Yeah.
You know?
And the thing is, we think it's like a magic wand, like, and you're initiated,
beep,
like
beep,
all of
boppity
your
boop.
life. You know what I mean?
Right.
And oftentimes you'll hear people say, like, now you have to reinitiate yourself
Yeah.
every day, and it's.
Yeah.
I think I'd shared it with you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I got these great messages. Like, life is gonna be lit, but do I believe that? You know what I mean? So, like, coming out of doing things a certain way, you have to like. I think I spoke of it being like a frequency. So if you're on a frequency of lack and you've got all these messages of how abundant your life is going to be, until you get into that stream of thought, of energy, that frequency of abundance, you're going to continue to experience the drought. You're going to continue.
Yeah.
So it's like you can get all of these great things, but you have to also do the work to connect into it and to believe it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
that
big
comes
thing.
with, the tools, even chanting, your verses, that it becomes like you have to kind of convince yourself that it's a reminder of the destiny that you chose.
Yeah, because you're
You know what I mean?
realigning.
You're realigning with it.
You've been separate. Well, I don't
disconnected,
know. Disconnected.
So
That's
the
a better
realignment
word.
of it isn't instant either. That's work, That's work. Like
Yeah.
the post-initiation
Pause.
fog,
Right.
or it's real, because it's like you're open and you still have to kind of like slowly acclimate to everything, even just coming back, spending 2 weeks in Oshogbo where it's amazing and still, but not still, and waking up in here, like I got back and I was like, I don't hear African drumming, like I don't hear the bata every day, like what's happening? What's wrong? Like, you know what I mean? Even going and coming back, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity, I'll say, to figure out like, okay, what do I do with all of this? Because it would be great to go get initiated and just stay in Oshogbo. Like, can you send for my children? Like, can I continue to have someone cooking for me all day long? And I have to, so coming and reintegrating into society post-initiation is something that I don't know that you can really prepare for.
Integration is a thing.
It's a thing. Yeah. And I was given like the notion of it and the warning of it, and still coming back, I was just like, but wait, but wait, and it's still beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
Two things can be true.
What about you all? What are you hoping to gain from your experience?
I can't really say. I'm just here for and open for whatever I gain and whatever I don't need. I'm going to be able to receive it and leave it there at the mat. So I don't want to. I don't have any expectations, for lack of better words. Yeah, I'm just. I'm here. I got my golden ticket. I'm getting on that train.
Right.
I don't have any expectations either. I packed my peach rings.
Oh my gosh.
So
We literally stopped by the stores. So sidebar.
And I'm just open. I'm open. I'm excited. The only thing that I'm expecting is myself to go, okay, ooh, you just read me. Okay. I'm going to be quiet because that's true. And now I understand different things. That's probably the only thing. But other than that, I'm baby deer, eyes wide open, ears perked, like, okay, what do we, okay, all right. And I'm excited and I'm grateful.
Yeah.
One thing I was told in preparation was like, just go and experience. Don't go and think you're gonna like learn.
Yeah.
Just be open to the experience. And then when you go back and you know, but I think sometimes our mindset, even as adults, we want to like gather everything. I want to get it all. I want to get it all and see it all. So I think it's good that you guys are just going to be open and curious, because you're going to have to be like ready for whatever, you know what I mean?
I think when I went the first time, I was in Oyo. I didn't go to Oshogbo the first time I went to Oyo, and no one spoke any English on this particular compound. And I remember the last day, this was my Ifa initiation. And I was, so I don't think that I was going just to go. You mentioned like, people just kind of going just to go. I just don't know that I had solidified like, damn, this shit is real. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure. Like, I think I saw things, but there was this moment in my initiation, the last day, where they were giving a message and they spoke about my adoption. They spoke about the fact that I had came from heaven with no one. And when I got here to earth, I still had no one because I was given away. I don't know these people from Adam. They don't speak English, right? And someone is translating. The person in the room that spoke English is translating, and I just start bawling.
Reading you for filth.
And they're like, what is wrong with her, right? Like, because there's no, like, there was crying on the mat is a thing there where there's like, they weren't having it. They were like, you can't cry. Like, women crying was like, it was really offensive to them. They were like, did they do something wrong? Like, she can't cry, she can't cry. And I was like, no. And they're trying to explain, like, no, she's just having a moment. These emotional ass Americans, like, she's just having a moment. Give on the mat. Give her a second. Right. and it was that moment where I was like, oh, this exactly.
Real. Yeah. And I've had those moments consistently. And even it's funny because some of the things that were told to me on the mat were told to me here in Atlanta by some people who were there with me in Oshogbo. And I'm not, saying all Aries are hard-headed. You know what I mean? But sometimes, and you have to hear it. You know what I mean? Like how many times we learn through repetition. Yes. I'll say that. It has nothing to do with being hard-headed. Yeah. We learn through repetition. So the irony of, okay. It's magical though that I'm here in Africa and, I'm being told the same thing, but it also confirms you have good people in your life, because sometimes the people in your life can see you and your journey. The people that are assigned to you in a good way can see you in your journey and help you and give you messages. And you can still be like, yeah, but I don't know. You know what I mean? So for me, the confirmation of like, I could have, it's a $2,000, plane ticket. It's, however much your initiation is. But I needed to have like that confirmation. So it was confirmation that the people around me are good for me. And it was also confirmation that sometimes I can catch the lesson a little sooner. And how do you know? Like they know me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like my people see me and know me. And for someone that really doesn't, to be able to tell me the very same thing about the very same life and the very same situation, it's like
that's amazing. That's
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is our last question for today. Aww. What an hour goes by fast.
It does. Right.
So for our listeners, people that are listening, what is some advice that you may give to someone who is just entering into the traditions, right? Like you you have moved to this place now where you're in training, your priesthood, you're going to Oshogbo, right? But for those people that are just entering, right? And that means that they are now where you were at one point, and our audience is women. So we're talking to women. What are some things that you can share with them, that you'd like to share with them? Some advice you can give?
I would say the main thing that I just keep hearing in my ears, just listen to yourself. Listen to, I know we say Ori, and if you're new, like you're like, what is Ori? What is that? Listen to your intuition. Listen to what you're saying to yourself. Not what other people are telling you to think or telling you to believe or telling you to feel. Like when you're by yourself, in the shower having those random thoughts, what are you feeling? And allow that to guide you, because 9 times out of 10 it's not going to steer you wrong. It may take you up the path and then down the path and around, but the lessons that you'll get along the way will lead you exactly to where you need to be. and it will all be worth it, because it'll help you have a clarity. It'll help you have a better understanding of what is going on with you.
Yeah. I would say definitely go in with an open mind. Don't be scared. Be yourself completely. And stay true to yourself and through it all, because it helps a lot. Just, come in with an open mind and be true to yourself. Don't be afraid. If you feel something and next thing you know, you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then you start apologizing for it. Like, no, just, it's okay.
You're loud.
It happened to me too. So, just come in with an open mind and be fearless.
I think I'd say honor your journey, honor your legacy, your personal family as well. I think sometimes when we are the first in our family or generation to take the path of African traditional religions or spirituality, oftentimes it's like a this or that type of thing. And that can be isolating. That could be isolating. It can, even speaking to your family, like being okay with your family asking questions, being okay with asking questions of your family to find out, because you shouldn't separate those parts of yourself, because you still need to connect with your egun, your ancestors. You still need to. So I think understanding each path and each step being important to who you are now and where you're going. I know personally in the beginning I traded, even with like the experience of growing up with Haitian Vodun. In my mind, it was like, but before Haiti, there was Africa. And it was wild. But there was a time where I put less importance on that experience because I wanted to go all the way, to Africa, versus understanding the immediate and tangible power that I had as a Haitian woman, and as having a mother who exposed me to Haitian spirituality. So I think it's important that we keep all the parts of ourselves and not trade it, because it all resonates. That's
because it led you here.
Exactly. There was one point where I was like, but before Haiti, there was Africa. And it's like, how dare you? You know what I mean? How dare you? And I've had to go back and like appease and, make amends, because there's no me without that. And oftentimes we want to like be the most African, and you want to wear the most beads, and you want, you know what I mean? Because we think that it has to look a certain way.
The most in the case.
So I just, honor your journey, even the good, the bad, the indifferent. Like it is all of it has made me who I am today. And I'm a powerful motherfucker.
I want to honor each of you for sharing your stories and being here today. I really appreciate you all. I look forward to, being there for you all and your initiations. And I want to thank you all also for trusting me. I don't take that lightly. I don't take that lightly for you to I think that's a part of this process, is also who we decide and who we choose, who, to help lead us in the process. And I do appreciate you all putting that, that trust in us. Like that's a big deal. So the way we end at Voices of EY is we're going to say a quick prayer for the community. And so I pray that everyone listening, that you honor your journey. I pray that you honor your path. I pray that your path leads you to your highest and best destiny. I pray that your path be filled with long life, with prosperity, with good health, with support, with love, with ease. And that you learn quickly the beauty of who you are and why you came into this world. I pray that you are clearly supported by good people who want the best for you and who surround you with that love who tell you the truth, but who also love you with an open hand.
Ashe.
Yeah, Ashe. Thank you all for joining us on this episode. In this first season of Voices of EY, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. That's an important thing. And we will see you all next Wednesday. Odabo.